Hello, people. I shall retrieve my phone and I will be back. Have I heard about the Gothic lock-picking puzzles? No. Are they different from original Gothic? I would imagine they might be. I'm letting my phone charge and the cord doesn't quite reach all the way here, so I will be occasionally looking at chat. We're waiting for this update to finish. Oh, it did finish. So we're going to be developing. I'm glad, by the way, dude, Gothic Remake has a lot of people playing it. Which is great. That was always my favorite RPG. Well, Gothic 2, man, dude, not being able to reach your phone and trying to use it. Gothic 2 Gold was the best, but like since it appears that Gothic Remake has been so successful, it seems like they're basically guaranteed to make Gothic 2 Gold now, right? What's the key for the in-game editor? It does not ship with the demo. Let's by the way, if you don't know, you can play the demo starting today. You can try the game out anytime you want. Um, and yeah, so we're gonna go demo this week only. Boom. Y'all can follow that, and that'll be pinned on the chat. And that let's make us not be okay. Managed to beat everything currently in the demo, and you're waiting for more. Well, that's good news. We will have more for you on Friday morning. So, also for people, maybe a lot of people know this, but in case you don't, we're doing a two-part structure of the demo. Just to give both pace it out, give people stuff to look forward to. So right now, what is available on Steam Next Fest, if you follow that link in the pinned message, um, is demo phase 1, which has, I think, 85 puzzles, something like that. And then we're releasing quite a few more puzzles on Friday. What time Friday? It's something like 9 or 10 a.m. Pacific time. Something like that. It's a little bit loose because like Next Fest started at a specific time, but this will be just like when do we push the button for the game, right? So, but it'll be like in the morning there. The voice acting is great. I know, dude. It really matters. It really matters having good voice acting. They must have taken over the. Yeah, I apologize for if the Wi-Fi is jittery. I'm at a friend's house and it's not the best net connection. What's the reason behind not including skipping stones at all in the demo? It's just so we want to give people something to look forward to. Like, hey, there's a world that you haven't played yet in the final game, right? B, the demo is already big enough. I mean, again, like I watched some people play the game and, you know, like people who are really good at puzzles got through the demo in like 5 hours. That what's available so far in like 5 hours. And then Friday will take more time, right? Which like is bigger than some entire puzzle games already. And that's people who are super good at puzzles, right? So like Braid was 5 hours for people who are super good at puzzles or less. so, uh, oh, by the way, yeah, the entire game of Braid has uh, around 70 puzzles, depending on how you count. What we gave away this morning was like 85. So what we gave away this morning is bigger than Braid already. Um, and of course, there's more. But then also, it allowed us to focus. Like, there's just a little bit in Skipping Stones that just requires some programming to make it nice. And we could have done that, but time was short enough that like we just preferred to focus on some of these other things. It's nuts how many voice actors you recognized. I mean, the actors are good. Think you accidentally left command key making the game go really fast. Well, we also accidentally left a sign in the tutorial telling you how to make the game go really fast. Oh, no, wait, we didn't. Sorry. We didn't actually. No. We tell you in the tutorial how to run, which is a different, and how to slow down the game. But basically, control slows things down and alt speeds things up. And in the part of the game that you're in right now, you don't really need alt to speed things up because there's nothing timed that you would like wait a while for. But believe me, you're going to be happy that that's in the game later. But yeah, we don't tutorialize it actually there. We tutorialize it somewhere in the game that is not in the demo. But that's intentional. You noticed in the demo that when characters die, the dialogue keeps going. Yeah, that's just something that I decided for now. There's some of these things that don't necessarily really have a logical solution, right? Like, we could have just stopped the dialogue when a character dies, but then what if you wanted to hear the dialogue? Do you have to undo and start it over? But normally, when you're playing and you undo, you don't want to be driven crazy by hearing the same dialogue over and over, right? So we just decided to let that be how it is. If we come up with anything better for the final game, we could change it, but I don't know that we will, you know? It's the same thing with, in some instances, especially if you're good at the game and know the answers and you're playing the puzzles for the second time, you can just sort of run through dialogue points faster than the dialogue will finish. And we just elect in most of those cases to cut the previous dialogue off and start the new one, which is just, like we don't want to slow down the game and force you to sit there and wait for it to complete, right? So, um, yeah, yeah. Can you expect better performance, especially when looking at the overworld map? Yep, we're going to continually work on performance until release. Performance is pretty important, and there's a bunch of shader optimizations that we can still do. It's just we're a small team. We built an entire programming language, and then an entire game engine, and then an entire just ridiculously huge puzzle game. Like the demo only starts to give you a hint how big it is, but the game is just ridiculously huge. And it's just a lot of work. And so, we're doing these things as we can do them. What is the programming language demo coming out? I think we just go to release the full thing instead of a demo. once or twice you missed it and could have found a way to repeat it. Yeah. So what I'm toying with, and we were going to try to get this in time for the demo. We might do it by Friday. I don't know. Like we want to be kind of conservative about what we put in for Friday, so we don't break things for people. But what I'm thinking is, you know how you hit R to reset, or whatever controller button. I'm thinking if you reset and you're already on the reset point, then we play all the dialogues again, right? So you could like do that intentionally. The only thing is, we would need to tutorialize that in the tutorial. So there's not much point in putting it in because people won't have been told how this works, right? And so they won't know about it. But it's probably something we'll do in the final game, and we'll change the tutorial and all that. Like most people who are playing the demo already, if they go back and play again on Friday, won't get in the tutorial. How was the over experience? Yeah, we did super professional voiceover. I left a tweet about it on Twitter. We did it at the Warner Bros. Lot, where they do like stuff for the Batman movies and whatever, and a lot of game. We actually, I think the movie rooms are different from the game rooms, but we did it in a game facility. So like any of these games that Warner did sound on, we were in one of those, and the actors came in and they were super good, and we got through a ton of work, and they sound great. And so the thing to keep in mind as well is it's going to sound a little better in the final game because all the voice acting that you hear now was literally put into the game in 2 days. And like we didn't have time to edit the recordings. Like editors at this professional level do a bunch of stuff to like make the voice sound better and remove little imperfections and help smooth out the dynamic range and stuff. And we didn't have time to do any of that because we recorded. It was crazy, dude. We were down here for Summer Game Fest. We were showing the game in Nintendo's booth. That went great. On the Switch too. And then the next day, I'm like, I'm going to Warner, and 2 straight days of recording. And it was only because the actors are really good at doing this that we got through that. Like if they were like futzing around and goofing off and not being able to get their lines or do a good job or whatever, we wouldn't have made the deadline. But they were all just awesome. Game crashes for you on startup on Windows 10. Yeah, we have some idea what that is. We haven't debugged it because none of us run Windows 10. We probably should make sure it works on there. One of the things is we're using like a thread naming API that only exists in Windows 11, but it's not really required for the game to run. It's just for crash dumps and debugging. So we could turn that off or maybe skip it if we detect Win 10. But that might not be the only problem. We're looking at it. We want to make sure the game runs for as many people as possible. You really love the thief's voice acting. Yeah, that that's Sabrina Fest. And yeah, I mean, she just in the auditions, she just had the most character and like nailed it. The cleric's voice actor was insane, I know. Sometimes the best acting is no acting, as they say. It's so much better than you expected when you found out we were doing a Sokoban. Thank you for the kind words. What I will say, okay, here's the thing. We can't even really get to the good part of the game because the game gets better and better as it goes. So if you like what's there already, the full game is just going to be keep getting better and better and better. Like the beginning, especially now, is just like getting people into the game and showing them the worlds and the characters, and you just have to get into those and understand them in order to get to the next part of the game, right? And we'll show like the beginning, like tippy toes of the next part of the game on Friday. And that should be, if you like the game so far, which a lot of people have said they do, that should be one step better. You'll start to see, oh, I get it. This is where it goes, right? And then past that with the final game, it gets better and better. Like the best stuff in the game is, 2/3 of the way through, probably. You know, I mean, at the end of the game, if you're 100% completionisting it, then it's maybe the hard stuff that you couldn't figure out yet. But like, when you get to the endings and all that, it's I think the best part. Why is the game not blurry like all other modern games? I mean, that's just video games now, right? That's just video games. What are you supposed to do for the last dragon hallway with two goblins push pull thing? I don't know what level that is. I'm sorry. Let me get a drink. Back in a sec. That's the fun thing. We intentionally did not name the levels. So when people want to talk about them on forums, they get to figure out how to describe them. How much story stuff are you still working on? A lot. Like it's probably going to be where I spend the majority of my time, hopefully. I mean, I need from now until launch. Like I need to be able to do a bunch of programming too, but I'm hoping that the rest of the team can do a lot of that and I can just, you know, focus on story stuff and making sure it's good and right. Dude, what I'm trying to read chat on the Twitch phone client, and I'm only getting like the chat in the bottom 20% of the screen because of the pinned tweet, and then because of, is there like a way to say on the phone client that I just want chat? There used to be. Mod view. Mod view gives me slightly more chat, but it's basically the same. And the text is smaller. The game seems to run worse on AMD cards. Yeah, we're going to look at that. We're going to work on it. There's probably, anytime it's something like that, there's probably just some stupid stuff we can do to make it go faster, and we'll be doing that for sure. Curious how early you had the final mechanics for the characters and how much iteration it took to get 4 abilities that synergize so well. So it sounds like you're talking about the heroes when you say 4 abilities, because that sounds like warrior, thief, wizard, and priestess. And I will say all of that is in the original free web game that world is based on. So you can go. You can go to the web and type puzzle script heroes of Sokoban, and let's find it. Here we go. This is the original game of that, and you may recognize this, right? So uh, here's level 1. This is my guy. All right, see this? Well, we don't have this level in the game. We have this turned into, the level with 6 rooms and lots of blocks. And then this one we changed, but you sort of recognize this a little bit, right? You sort of recognize this with the 3 buttons, except of course our level's a little bit tougher to solve. And so this is designed by a guy named Jonah Ostroff, who I believe was like a math PhD when he did this. And part of what we're doing with the game is, firstly, making a high production value version of it. This is the thief. But secondly, bringing it together with all these other games, and like we've really, so like this level is not in the final game, but it's sort of turned into the thief level with all the rooms where you take the thing over. Because the idea of this level in original Heroes of Sokoban is just like, oh, I have to pull this past that and then pull it back. And that's sort of the end of that thief level. But you can go back just as a curiosity. This game's free. You can play it and you'll recognize what it is. Um, but also, there's lots and lots. What you'll see in the later game that we had to really expand on these abilities and how they work and answer certain design questions about what's going on with all that. And so it wasn't as simple as, oh, just put those guys in a higher resolution game. Oh man, those sound effects. I mean, that's puzzle script. That's puzzle script, man. Any Enigmash in it? No, there isn't. That is a super cool game, dude. That is a super cool game. I mean, yeah. Is there any chance you could make run and speed up toggleable? Here's what I would say. They were originally like speed up was originally like a toggleable setting, and it just felt bad because it was too easy to accidentally speed up and then leave it that way. It was just kind of a hassle. So as much as you might think that you want that, I think it's better now. The game just feels better now because you don't have to just change it back. The thing about run is right now, so I would like to tune the controls for run a little bit. I find that if I'm running a lot, I'll just miss where I meant to turn, because it's just hard to hit the timing. And maybe we can improve that, maybe not. It just might be really hard. But so I don't necessarily want to run all the time because the game feels clumsy at that point and you're just missing everything and whatever. So I want to encourage running for short to medium periods of time. Are there lots of ways to get into stuck states in the Crystal Laser basement? There are some ways to get stuck. Like, so, we tried to remove the most brutal ways to get stuck, but there just are some. Like, the nature of that puzzle is that it's really close to impossible to eliminate any fail states. Um, you could think about it like in Heroes or something. If you push a rock into the corner and you don't have the thief or the wizard on the level, you can't get it back, right? Um, so it's like that, but in a much bigger level. And is that a challenge? Yes. But, once you know how to do the individual sub puzzles, if you have to reset, it doesn't take that long to do them. And you could kind of ignore them even if it's like, look, because by the time you get down there, you'll usually have a bunch of gems. You'll have more gems than you need to power any individual room. And it's like, well, I know I can get that gem. I'm not going to worry about it right now, you know. But also, that's kind of what, we warn you at the beginning of the game. That direction's harder than the other ways. And we weren't kidding about that. So, yeah, but we did try. We did try to remove any just totally gratuitous soft blocks that were really bad. But, at some point, at some point, um, we just couldn't do anymore. We'll keep looking at it though. It is very important. Because that's the intro to that sequence and that world. So we just want to make sure that people have a good time there and enjoy it. Part of that was making the beams look juicy and fun, which they do now, right? They didn't used to. It's like a lot more fun to play that once the beams look good. By the way, you could follow this dude we go on Twitter and we search for uh, XOR. I'm not going to dox who he is in real life, but this guy does a bunch of shader work. He always posts like shader toy stuff, and he's got his shader toy replacement called FragChord, but he does all sorts of cool effects. And he did the effects that you see for the beams and the energy gates and a few other things in the game. Um, so that's pretty cool. And you know, if you follow him here, you'll just see all sorts of cool effects um, that he posts that he works on. The displacer is what made things scary. Yes, yes, it is. Promise was your favorite part. Cool. By the way, also, um, the author of the original game, so that is also something you could play the original game of, and it's harder, right? So if you go to uh, here, Promised by Sean Barrett. Sean Barrett streams on Twitter very rarely. You can let's download this and run it, and you can have fun seeing this, right? So we're gonna. You can also get Promise 2 for free and get a little bit of a head start and know some of what's waiting for you beyond the demo. But Promise 2 is brutally hard. We do some stuff that makes these games easier. Let me show you, for example. This is taking a long time to run. I hope it's going to run. Windows protected my PC, guys. I'm so happy that Windows protected my PC. Okay, so here we go. This is the slightly higher res than PuzzleScript, but you can see there's a similar sort of a thing. There's gem slots and gems. The movement in this game is very pokey, and that's because it has to be at the same rate as the mover guys, because otherwise he has to deal with all sorts of problems that we had to deal with. But this is what it looks like. And if you notice the map down there in the lower right, it's a mini map, and it's really hard to deal with because you can't see what direction beams are pointing, for example, and so forth and so on. So here's the strength beam down here. You might recognize that. It's a little different. We changed it to rocks because it's kind of tweaky in this game, and the rules are a little different. And we had to change the strength rules to make sense throughout the game. But you can go play this, and you could play Promise 2, the brutally hard sequel that only a few people have ever solved. Can you confirm if there's at least one secret in the demo? Here's don't go grinding for secrets, because there's nothing like that. There's nothing like you did a crazy thing and you found the secret Warren Robinette screen or anything like that. That doesn't exist in this game because we didn't. It's the Doom spacebar thing. So like original Doom, you would find secret areas by like pushing spacebar on the wall. And if it's not a secret area, your guy goes, right? And so you end up walking around the whole game going, on every single wall. And it actually sucks. It's like not good at all, right? So we didn't want to do that in this game because in order to make that pay off, the number of secrets would have to be like incredibly huge, and it just doesn't make sense. So is there secret stuff in the game? Kinda, but it's never invisible. It's never invisible. It's always, you'll see something and then you're like, how do I get to that thing? So if you don't see some place to get, or you don't see some object that you don't know what's the right thing to do with it, then don't worry about it. You were bummed that you got 2 red rocks on the north buttons and there was 1 button missing, lol. Yeah, I mean, good for you that you were perceptive enough to do that. What I would say is that's in the full game, you'll be able to do that. Other than Sokoban, what's the actual inspiration behind this game? You know, there's like a 2 minute video. Did I post it on YouTube or Tweeterize it? Let me not dox myself for a second, but I think if I, there's a little video that we posted like maybe a month ago, something like that. That just explains the point of the game really briefly, and it would be nice if yeah, okay. This is when we announced it on Nintendo Switch 2. Uh, but you can check that out. Okay. Let's bring back our desktop. Let's bring back our desktop. We're not getting a lot of work done yet, but like I'm enjoying this. So we'll just sort of slowly work. What I need to add this hash table to Entity Manager. We need this pulsing level entry, which is a table mapping entity ID to pulsing level entry. All right. Pulsing level entries is a table from PID to pulsing level entry, table reset. Pulsing level entries. Excuse me. Dude, we're not using the x64 backend here, we're using LLVM, and it's so much slower, especially on this laptop. It's like 3 times slower, but it generates a debug build that'll run a little faster, which, man, it matters more on this laptop, which is why I'm doing that right now. Anyway, that link that I pasted will explain the point of the game and all that. I'm glad you guys enjoy the demo. By the way, if you like the demo, if you have friends who you think would like a good puzzle game, go ahead and recommend it to them. It's free. The more people who play the demo, the more we get the word out about this game, and that'll help us because, you know, as you know, this genre of puzzle is not the most mainstream thing. And that means, even when we make something that has, let's say, more polish and, a level of like characters and story that most of these games don't have, that helps, let's say, non-puzzle enthusiasts get more into the game. Um, and as you can see, what's in the intro, I think it's a pretty soft ramp. Of course, if somebody has literally never done a puzzle, they're probably still going to have a hard time with the game. But they're not brutal puzzles most of the time, I think, as you've noticed, right? They're just like interesting. They're introducing you to the characters. I mean, until you go west, they're not brutal puzzles, right? And I think a lot of people would be interested in that, right? Because a lot of people don't play these kinds of puzzle games because they think that they're like mean, hard IQ tests or whatever. And if they play puzzles, it's like match three or on the phone or something. And, I just would like people to know that this is a cool game they can try and it's free. And hopefully, when the game comes out, it'll be successful enough that we could keep making these, right? Um, so yeah, just let people know because it helps us. And that goes for, so it's Next Fest this week. There's a bunch of demos. Just check out some demos from indie developers because you probably could find some really good stuff in there. I know that Steam has a personal calendar now, although I guess I don't know if Next Fest is on there, but I think that's supposed to be better at recommending people what they really would be interested in. So that could be a good thing too. Anyway, it really, really helps us uh, when people are interested in the game. And we're going to be working hard to finish it over the next few months. Um, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens and where things go. There's a small visual bug in Mirror Isles where if you press X multiple times quickly with the guy having a mirror directly on the right and left of him, a ghost guy appears 2 units below his initial position. Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that. There were some similar bugs that we fixed, so I'm not that surprised, but I thought we had fixed them all, and so I guess if there still is one, then there still is one. Use macOS. Yeah. We just can't do ports to too many operating systems at once because we're a small team. I would hope that eventually we'll be able to bring the game to Mac and to other places, right? Um, I would like to bring it to mobile sometime. But again, it sort of depends. You know, are enough people interested in the game based on the initial launch? So we'll find out. It's looking good. I mean, dude, so many people are telling me they really like it, and I'm so glad, right? But we just need to see how there's sort of at least two variables, right? There's like how much do people like the game, and how much does word spread about the game, right? If a lot of people like it, but it just stays a niche interest, that's not so good for us. So we just need to try to do what we can do to spread the word about the game and so forth. Just finished the Crystal Basement. Hey, good job. The solution was much, much simpler. You're trying things that seem like they could be really cool solutions, but were dead ends. All right. I mean, that's just the nature. That's one of the things that makes that area hard, right? Is just that, well, there's a few things that make it hard. There's, a number of gems that you could be trying to get right now, and some of them you may not be able to get yet, and you're not sure which ones those are, right? And then for anyone that you're trying to get, there's a number of tactics that you might try about how to get in there, right? And that's just what makes it challenging. But congratulations on getting through there. You'd be ready to pay $120 to get access to the full game now. Well, the game's not done. Um, but we appreciate the thought. Do you really think there will be not enough people interested in a 10-year investment like this? I mean, you never know. Like I hope people are, but I'm not in control of what people want to play and all that, right? And so we just have to see. Um, yeah. The overhead camera helps so much. Yes. So like I showed in original Promise, there is a mini map, but like you when you're playing original Promise, you spend a lot of brain power staring at the mini map and trying to figure out what it even means, right? Whereas in this one, we let you play running around the mini map. Um, let's show that for a second. Let's just make sure the game's still running. Oh, we're already going to that level. See how long it takes. Whoops, how long it takes to start up. This is a slow laptop, and we're running a debug build and all that stuff, so it may take a little bit. And we're streaming at the same time. Gate will open if monsters are present. Should be negated. No. It says gate will activate if monsters are present. It doesn't say gate will open. Now I realize that that's. Think about it. Think about it. Is there a reason behind locking the demo after a week? Well, you know, we're working with a publisher on this, and that's what they think is the right thing. I don't know. Maybe there would be an occasion to bring the demo back later. I don't know. But what they just wanted to do Next Fest, and this is how Next Fest works: is that things are just available this week and then they're gone. So, you know, but we'll talk about it. I'm sure I'll talk to them. Like, we'll see how the game went and all that. Did Crimson Desert kill my desktop? No, no, I'm just traveling. Have I beat Promise 2? Yeah, I was one of the first people to beat Promise 2. Like, I think when I played it, only 2 or 3 people that Sean knew of it because it's really hard. Original Promise 2 is really hard. Original Promise 1 is actually harder than the first. But here's what we were saying: is you can pop up the map and you can run around, play this way, and you can just tell what you're looking at. And it makes equivalent puzzles a lot easier because you're not spending your brain power just grinding on like looking at the pixels. Right? No, that was local, but that's the full map, right? Of this level. Spoilers. Dude, the game's so cool. This is a really cool game. Really cool game. Game audio is real loud. Okay, sorry. I wonder if that's because, I'm going to plug in headphones and then tell me if it's still too loud. Because it was supposedly okay for the stream this morning, but this is maybe it might be different. How's this? Is this better or just as bad? Oh, well, the music stopped because I stopped moving. So if I start moving again, the music will start up. Hopefully. It's supposed to. Maybe we're not quite done with that yet. Maybe it's just on repeat. Anyway, you see the point. Okay, so we're going to go to the overworld. And we're going to just put in some code that makes level entries it started up again. Listen to the quality of that music, dude. That's so nice. All right. You assume we can buy the OST? We haven't discussed that yet. The thing is, you know, you have to like, the music in the game is like a dynamic thing, and you have to put it together for soundtrack form, but I suspect they may want to do that. I don't know. Anyway, Um, okay, we should move those entities actually. Anyway, so what I want to do is make it so that when you come onto a screen for the first time, um, if a level is unlocked, it'll pulse. And you know what? We can test the pulsing, right? So if I cheat a level here, it'll like unlock the level next to it, like you see sometimes. And I want the level to like pulse visually, and then we'll add a sound effect to that. How's the music volume, by the way? Is it still horrible, or are we okay? Because we can turn it down for sure. Anyway, we want to add just a little more animation and characters to the levels when you activate them. And I've started doing code for that before the stream. Music volume is fine. Okay, so part of it is just we were playing out of the laptop speakers and it was feeding back into the microphone probably. I want to move these things down here because see, we moved this today because we realized you could block yourself. It was in here and you could push this after it's unlocked into there and block yourself off. So we moved it out here and I was like, oh, well, there's a map pin over here. I'll just show you. Let's run the release because the editor might be a little slow if we don't. The massive number of possibilities of the west part while still being stuck proof. Well, we had someone complain about being stuck, so it's not completely stuck proof, but we actually, Patrick, I think, did a bunch of work on that. I think Mark did promise 2 and Patrick did promise 1 in terms of revising them and, just trying to keep the puzzles interesting while reducing soft blocks and stuff. Yeah. Do you plan on changing the speech icon flicker? Yeah, we'll probably do some stuff there. I think no matter what, we'll put a little bit more polish into that, but you could imagine it doesn't flicker, but like it grows and shrinks. Or you could imagine either one of those, but it's like synced to the waveform, like an audio visualizer, right? That would be cool. Okay, so anyway, what you guys will see this will probably be in the update Friday, the fix for this soft lock. Or we might update it before Friday, but all right. And you know what? Maybe after we do this, I kind of want to change the level entries to be red. Right now they're all this violet, and that's because we had visibility problems on this light surface, but I kind of want them to be like the gates colored warrior, thief, wizard. And maybe that'll be more feasible, like, once we do this stuff. Okay. Anyway. So see, this looks kind of symmetric relative to this, like with the map pin, this and that. The problem is you pick up the map pin and then it looks lopsided. So what I want to do is move these, right? And then put that in the middle, and then that looks symmetric. And then when the map pin goes away, it still looks symmetric. See, game design. Game design. Game design. Game design. Game design. Game design. Let's so these as well, let's just sort of turn down so they used to always have this almost black color and it's too attention grabbing. Like I like the thing that we did down here where you can see them but they're subtle, right? So let's just turn this to, well, actually, let's go here. We'll put that color, and then we'll come here, and maybe we'll tint it a little more, though. We'll put it, because the floor tiles here are kind of yellowy, so maybe there. Maybe that's too hidden. Maybe, what do you guys think? Like that, that? Like I want them to be visible. Maybe it's too much the right yellow. Maybe we put it in green a little bit. How do you guys feel? How's that? Like that looks pretty backgroundy, right? But you still see it. You still see it. We'll have the art team tweak it as well, maybe. But just at least by doing this, I set the design intent. By the way, for these stars are hopefully still temporary. For the final game, I want to do something much cooler for all these level entries. However, um, as you know, video games are a lot of work, and we just decided to prioritize some other stuff like the story over doing some of these. All right, so I'm going to make these maybe greener. You know how they say the grass is greener? That's definitely true here. So we're going to put these kind of backgrounded. Like they just look kind of inactive now, which I think is good. And then, dude, someone in a nearby house is having a party and yelling. I mean, more power to them. They're having fun. All right, let's make this kind of more of a. Oh no, it's dogs barking. It just sounded like, I don't know, it sounded like teenagers having a party, but it's dogs barking. Same thing. Same thing. Right? I don't know. Does that look backgroundy? It looks better than this did, right? Because the thing about this screen is it kind of looks like a mess when you first come on it right now, right? But also we could make this a little more green, and we could have a little bit of, like variation is worth a lot, right? So like these three are slightly different colors, and we could have like, you know, these could be a little more saturated, and these could be up here. Just making some variation just so it doesn't look like the same. This is an ancient game development technique, is clicking randomly on the color thing to like perturb stuff, right? I could give myself more color resolution because, whoops, when the frame rate's a little low, doesn't like it as much. So, like this already looks better. Like I already wish we had done this before we shipped the demo this morning, but like I said, it's like there's so much to do in a video game that like it sounds stupid, but we didn't have time to do this. Like we were just, dude, I was working so hard to get the story stuff in. Oh, you have no idea how hard I was working to get the story stuff in. And more, there's more story stuff in Friday's drop of the demo, right? So anyway, so now you come onto this screen, and I mean, I guess so we were doing this thing that hasn't really paid off, where we make the things different sizes based on how introductory they are. I think we're going to stop doing that, because especially with the final graphics for these, it's just better. I mean, we could though, um, We could, though, again, use this to vary things, right? Like just provide variation in size so it doesn't look just like a frickin' row of things, right? Another time honored game development technique. Anyway, I would like to make this one actually bigger because we want you to notice it when you come in, like, oh, this is important. And then the other stuff that we do will help you notice that for sure. Was there a universe where you got the voice acting in for the promise and you ran out of time before demo release, or was that never in the cards? What I will say is there was a little bit of confusion because I hadn't done this in a long time and I was like communicating with Warner over email and stuff. We did stuff in an order that was maybe suboptimal. Well, and also we were going back and forth about whether to put skipping stones in the demo and were we going to do voice acting for that. That's the other thing is we would have had to cast those characters for the demo, right? Um, and there would be two or maybe three more characters. There's a lot of characters in this game. Um, if I had known exactly how the schedule would go, we not only would have had more time to do the stuff that we did, but we might have had more time to do the other stuff too. That said, I want more time to revise the story for Promise. Like, there's not as much there as I think there should be, and also, I want to revise some things about it, about who the characters are and what's happening and all that. Same with Mirror Isles, by the way. Um, like I think the story for Mirror Isles is going to get revised pretty heavily, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty happy with Heroes. Like it's going to get revised too. Heroes is going to get revised, but um, like I think the characters are fundamentally who they are, and that doesn't change. And what's going on doesn't change. It's just the lines might get tweaked and punched up and stuff like that. You had some family try out the demo. They're sold. They love it. I'm glad. This is the thing. I mean, indie developers live or die based on do people tell other people about their game because we don't have these giant advertising campaigns that like GTA has or whatever, right? And so it's just that's all it is for us is like do people tell other people that this is a good game that's at least you can't guarantee someone's going to like something, but like is it at least worth your time to check out, right? And so I'm glad to hear that. We've worked on this for a really long time, man. And it's very gratifying. Like everybody on the team is happy that we all got to watch people playing the demo like today on Twitch and stuff. And I think everybody has enjoyed that because it's been good. It's been people playing the game and having a good time. And it's a puzzle game, right? It's a genre where people would usually get stuck and frustrated. And I haven't really seen any of that today. Like people take longer on some puzzles, but I haven't seen anybody like shelf the game because it was too frustrating, and that's good. That might have happened. I just didn't see it. Is all I'm saying. And it wasn't like the majority reaction, or I would have seen it. When Roblox port? Oh, who knows? Maybe indie games will have the kind of surge that indie films have had. Well, I would say maybe that's happening. Like if you look at the big games this year, they're mostly indie games, right? Mugenics did great. Hollow Knight 2, Silksong did great. Um, Slay the Spire 2 did great. These are all indie games. They're by indies who have been successful before and are sort of doing follow up things, but you know they're all pretty good. You felt that you could not distinguish the overworld icons for the optional levels from the mandatory ones. Yeah, there's not actually a difference. So the different star shapes do mean something right now, but they don't say optional versus mandatory. We might try to make that clearer in the final game. It depends. It depends. Yeah, I would like to have a way to make clear that something is optional, and we may have a way to do that. Like I said, we're gonna revise all these visuals. This one's maybe not. It's like sticking out too much relative to his buddy. So we could vary it a little bit. Still sticking out, but whatever. We're good. We're good. Okay. So let's maybe try to make this happen. So um, I need to put a little bit more in here. I want to call pulse elapsed pre-pulse uh, time remaining. Okay. So we're gonna set that to some default. Like, I don't know, 1.5 seconds. So it's gonna pulse when you go on the screen. 1.5 seconds later, one dot yeah. And that gives time because you're gonna clear fog of war and then this thing is gonna go, right? Okay, so um that'll just get set there by default. When we update, we're gonna say if pre-pulse time remaining is greater than 0, although I mean, this means things won't pulse if you leave the level and come back. Do we care about that? I'm not sure. We might not finish this tonight, but I just had a wave of like, oh, I'm actually pretty tired. Um, so this, I'll explain this in a second. I just want to make sure. Okay, so we subtract the DT. If it's less than 0, then this is how much past 0 we went, because it's the frame interval is some amount of time, and this we said we only needed some of the frame interval, so we want to go down here and do this with the rest, right? And so it's just a way of, in video games a lot of the time, if you're not a little bit careful, then you can have all this code that behaves differently at different frame rates, right? So at a low frame rate, you might take a little bit longer to start pulsing because you're only switching the logic on frame rate boundaries. And this is just a simple way to fix that, right? This is like, okay, on this frame, if we used all the time, start pulsing. Okay, so this we changed elapsed to pulse elapsed. All right. Pulse elapsed divided by duration. And yeah. Okay. So let's see if that builds. Pre-pulse time remaining is not a member of. Oh, that's the wrong thing. This is pulsing. Pulsing. This is an ancillary data structure. And this can go really before we look up the level entry, because if we're just counting down, we don't need to know who this is yet. You must be honest, you underestimated the game. Since the last one was The Witness, a 3D colorful game, no way the Sokoban beats that. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like the game. What I told someone earlier, and what I will tell you now, is that even though I think the beginning of the game is good, the game only gets better after the beginning. Because the beginning, you can tell from playing the demo, I think, the beginning is just like setting stuff up, right? It's like, here's the worlds, here's how the thief works, here's how the wizard works, here's how the mirrors work, and all that, right? And then, so you'll see on Friday, right? So I want to make sure people know this. Can we see me? The lights are off in the room, but I'm being lit by the monitor. Yeah, it's all right. Um, I want to make sure people know, if you enjoy the game. You probably saw the signs in the demo, but I'll remind people we're releasing more on Friday. There's more game to come on Friday. And that'll start to show you the next step of the game beyond the intro. And I think if you like what's there already, you'll like what's there on Friday even more. And then it's just as you play through the game, it just keeps getting better and better because the game is about everything at once, right? And so, yeah, but it's great. It's great. So if I had a worry, it would be like, oh, people won't necessarily like the beginning because it doesn't get to the total beef of the game yet, but people are liking the beginning. And I think you can tell. Not only are the levels really beautiful, let's show some levels. Not only are the levels really beautiful, but we just polished the bejesus out of them. You know, we worked really hard to be like, is this frustrating for a bad reason? Can we make it better? Can we help it communicate to you early in the game better? And that just pays off. This is by far the most design polished game I've ever worked on. The average puzzle quality in this game is higher than The Witness and higher than Braid. Like, I think that's indisputable. Now, of course, people might like different styles of games better, and that's no surprise, but I'm just saying, like, in general,
What
this
just
game is
happened?
so polished,
I've
right?
never seen bars just
In terms of the
dissolve like
design.
that.
Like, look at the crazy mega dungeon background. It's just so fun. Do you believe launching an Xbox demo might better measure the traction of the game on different gaming community? I mean, so what I will say is, we would like, of course, as an indie developer, we want as many people to be able to play the game as possible. At the same time, we're only human, and we've got to pick platforms. You know what I'm saying? This is our own
place
engine,
is so
right?
huge.
It's not even like
How am I
Unity
gonna
where
find the
it kind
others?
of does. I mean, look at that background.
Tiff?
It's not
Isidore!
even like Unity where it kind of does.
Seems I'm on my own for now. Let's go.
This is like when we go to a new platform, we've got to write all the code for the engine to run on that platform, and so it's a lot of work for us, and we have to be careful and choose. That's all. So we can't be everywhere yet. But it's always good, when people say, I like this platform or I'm only on this platform, will you port the game there? And the answer is obviously we would like to, and it just depends on what are we able to do. Game audio is quite loud. Dude, I don't understand why, because it was fine a minute ago, right? All right, we'll turn it down anyway. We're just working on the game. We're not trying to demo the game right now. One level frustrated you because you were smooth braining it. I mean, that is also the nature of puzzle games, right? It is the way of puzzle games. Is there a way to restore a level to the way you left it just before solving? Well, okay, so here's the trade-off, right? We wanted to keep people's save game files reasonably small. And if we actually kept the state around for all these levels, then it would just make the save file a lot bigger, like hundreds of times bigger than it currently would be. Because there's hundreds of levels, right? Whereas now, well, maybe not hundreds of times bigger, but I mean, easily 100 times bigger, like a lot bigger. And so we don't want to fill up people's hard drives. It's crazy that you kind of call them hard drives now, but people's storage, we don't want to fill up people's storage. So when you win a level, we erase the history of the level. It's just, it's just a compromise for reality right now. What was my favorite combo of worlds to design for? I don't even know because there's so many things. There's so many things. What I will say is there's some individual mechanics that we get way more puzzle juice out of than you would expect. Both of them are not in the demo. Okay, so there's a certain color of beam that's not in the demo, but like we just get crazy amounts of stuff out of it. And there's a certain kind of mirror that's not in the demo that we just get crazy, like just really fun levels and a lot of them. so yeah. You just wish the demo wasn't timed. Yeah, I know. It's just the reality. It's Steam Next Fest. You went west first? Well, I mean, we know when we write that some people are going to go west first. We could, if it was my design sensibility, we could block you out from the west until you did an easier area, but I like giving players freedom, and that's freedom, man, right? Going west first is freedom. How much time do you figure it takes to 100%? It seems huge. The thing is, okay, there's a lot of variability between how long does it take people to solve puzzles. And what I would say is the kind of person who wants to 100% a game like this is probably someone who's good at puzzles, right? Whereas the kind of person who doesn't want to 100% this is on average not as fast at puzzles. I mean, that's a gross generalization, right? But it's just to say, um, you know, I'm just saying, it's hard to say. Like, yeah, we'll see. It's a lot. It's big. I mean, let's put it this way. So, the fastest people who I saw today play the game um, were like 5 hours, maybe a little faster than that, to play through what's released so far. And a lot of those people had like already played Heroes of Sokoban or Mirror Isles in PuzzleScript or something a long time ago, right? So like, um, you know, again, we're going to release more on Friday, and that you could add that playtime, and then you could multiply that by some number. That's at least 10, probably 15 or 20. It's a big game. It's probably, I think of it as around 7 times to 12 times as big as The Witness, depending on how you count. Your playthrough was 345. Yeah, that's pretty good, but like you've played a bunch of PuzzleScript games, right? So you're ahead of the pack in terms of being prepared. In the Discord, some of us had managed 2.5 hours. Yeah, I mean, some people are really fast. Some people are really fast. And that's okay. I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is these are the beginning puzzles. So there's like this is probably one of the
One of
simplest
these.
puzzles in the game. I mean,
Stay out of
these
my
two
way, you
levels, right?
stupid energy.
I mean, this is just communicating that this is how this works, right? There's nothing in the game past this point that's ever this simple. So the average involvedness of puzzles goes up as you go further into the game, is what I'm saying. You think Heroes Alone took you about 3? Yeah, that's about what I would expect. Um, and there's a whole other Heroes, right? So the Heroes that's in the demo so far is Heroes 1 and 2. And we're going to have the start of Heroes 3, which has 2 more heroes. Those who played original Heroes of Sokoban know who the heroes are. But there's 2 new heroes. So here you get 4, right? You get debug builds, so it's taking a little bit. In this one, you get Warrior, Thief, Wizard. Let's go to the level that has all of them. You get Warrior, Thief,
Tiff,
Wizard.
why
and
did the
Priestess.
magistrate
She's not
lock us
shown
up?
here 'cause she comes later.
Sometimes
You
things
get 2
just follow
more
me home
D&D
without me doing
characters.
anything. You know
And
how it
here's 3.
is.
You stole from him?
I wanted to pop in and say the game is beautiful visually. Thank you. Yeah, the team. I mean, look at this, dude. Look how good this level looks. It's got the golden light on the right and the green and okay, it looks nice, and at the same time it's very playable. You can read the grid. You can see exactly where you can walk, right? And it's just it takes a while to get it figured out till you're at that point, right? But it works very well. Like, too bad stream is 720p. Yeah, it's just this is my crappy laptop. We're gonna do some nicer streams when I get home tomorrow. So, okay, by the way, guys, so this morning we did a little stream where we're showing off the game, but I'm gonna do another one tomorrow night from my home machine at decent resolution and all that. This is on a mobile GPU on a thin and light laptop while streaming. It's really not ideal. Back in a minute. Let me get some air conditioning. Sorry if you hear that background noise, but it should only go for a little bit. It was fun to see Raphael play the demo. I bet that was cool. Yeah. He didn't want to spoil anything? Yeah, but like everyone can play it now, so I don't know. Anyway, it's a really fun game. Like, I'm really glad we got to make this. It's a really cool game, guys. So like I said, if you think the beginning's fun, you have no idea how cool the game gets. It just keeps getting better. Wallpaper mode, DLC. I mean, this would be a great desktop background, right? A lot of these levels would be great desktop backgrounds. Thanks for not having an intro or a tutorial. We do. We have a tutorial. It just only takes like 3 or 4 minutes. It's a small tutorial. The game was 100%ing the GPU and barely running the CPU at all. Yeah, I mean, so what that generally means is that the fill rate is much more impacting your GPU than the geometry. And part of that is like, so you see all the haze and stuff here that's kind of giving this hazy feel, like, you know, back here and stuff. That's actually pretty expensive. We don't have a way to turn that off entirely right now because it might just wreck how the game looks. But I think, you know, if you go to performance mode, it's like a lower quality, right? So if you're not on performance mode, you might try that, and you might try reducing the resolution and stuff. But we're going to provide, I think, more graphics options when we ship, and we're also just going to optimize the shaders more, right? We're going to optimize the shaders so that they run better for more people as well. Played for 4 hours. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad so many people enjoy it. Like, it's just, dude, we've worked so much on this game for such a long time. It's great. Glad you guys like it. Can the demo do free camera? It can't unless you hack it, which I'm sure somebody might. Um, oh, you know what? There's that NVIDIA thing. So for the witness, we enabled whatever the NVIDIA thing is that lets you free cam around, but that's not turned on by default in this. You laughed out loud when you first got stuck inside the energy block. Yep. I mean, the thing is, the game's, it's kind of a comedy of errors, right? With the heroes. And that's also why, the different worlds have different personalities right now. And the heroes is a lot about like fumbling around between the different characters. And so the story and the way the characters are written is like the lightest, right? It's not like a funny haha all the time kind of a story, but it's like the characters are light. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Gabe Grissom, yeah, Gabe Grissom. Do you know how many people downloaded the demo? I don't have those numbers. The publisher probably has those numbers, although I'm not sure if they do. We didn't put any analytics in. The publishers were like, "Hey, do you want to put analytics in?" And I was like, "If we can, maybe we will." But we just had too much to do. We couldn't. We barely got the demo to you. So 2 days ago, well, let's go a little further. Friday afternoon, let's say 2.5 days before the demo was out, there was none of the final voice acting in the game. Zero. Right? So we put all that in over a couple days and all this stuff. You really like how restarts can be undone was taught. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. I like doing ballsy things in tutorials, right? Um, some people just skip that and don't even notice it, but that's what you get. I mean, if you're going to run through the tutorial, that's what you get. But it's kind of a debate, right? We tell you to hit R. I mean, I think we say press R to restart. It could be even funnier if we don't tell you what it does. If we just say, now press R. And then you're like, oh, it reset me. And then it's like, no, you can back up. Should you play the demo or wait for release if you're purchasing the game? Does it benefit you in any way? I think the biggest thing is just wishlisting the game. Helps us the most. If you have wishlisted it, then I think it's up to you whether you want to play some of it right now or not. What I'll say is it'll get a little bit more polished for the final release, but the levels that you play in the demo are not going to change that much. We might do little tweaks, but like what you play in the demo is basically what it's going to be in the final game. And so it's not like you're playing the bad versions of the levels and they'll get radically better. No, they're already super polished. This is one of the levels from the demo, right? It looks beautiful, etc. So it's a good troll. Yeah, it's totally a troll. I made a note that maybe I should tell people you can undo. Yeah, the voice acting is great. Yeah, I know. I mean, okay, here's the thing. We recorded all the actors for the heroes individually just because we did this at such short notice and it was hard to schedule everybody. By the way, 2 people flew in from out of town to be in the game, right? Um, so we kind of had to record them individually and cast them like guessing how it was going to be. And we played the auditions of the other actors for the other actors, so they kind of would know how they would work, but we didn't have the actual dialogues for them yet. And it worked out surprisingly well considering that. Is Steam Deck still planned to be supported? It is supported right now. Um, the demo runs on Steam Deck just fine, so don't worry about it. I don't know if you can Steam Deck certify a demo. I don't know if that's a thing, but it runs. It's fine. Was any actor of this game on The Witness? No. Did you ever make a level and later stump yourself while playing it? Yes. Yes. It happens more with other people's levels, but for sure I've had my own levels stump me. The cleric has taken a vow of silence. That's why she doesn't speak. Dude, these levels look so nice.
That'll teach me to watch where I step.
Traps everywhere. I somewhat like it.
Don't
I hope
worry,
it's not too loud.
bars are no hard matter for me at all.
Any unexpected learnings from feedback so far? Nothing super unexpected, partially because we've just polished the game a lot. It's just little, there's technical stuff like, oh, on this GPU, it's not going that fast, so you should check that. But, we've watched a bunch of people play on Twitch today, and you learn in subtle ways that are hard to articulate. How are people interacting with the game, and what does that look like? And that's very useful as a designer, but I wouldn't say any of it's unexpected, because it's just sort of always what we're doing as designers when we see people play. It's just a constant learning process, and you take a little bit of it into this game, but you also take it into the next thing that you design. Like, how did people react in the previous thing? This level doesn't have light maps. I was looking at it, I'm like, that level doesn't look like it has light maps. This one does.
He locked us up
No?
because you stole his
Oh wait,
keys.
no. This is final
Little
shaders. It won't,
notes.
sorry, it won't
Why
show
did the
light
magistrate
maps.
lock us up?
Sometimes
I built
things
with
just
final
follow the
shaders, so it
helm
goes
without
faster.
me doing
Like
anything.
non-final
You know how
shaders,
it
which has all
is.
those
You
debug
stole
modes.
from him?
Because there's if statements for the debug modes and stuff, the shaders run slower, and on a low spec laptop like this, you don't want debug shaders while you're trying to work. You notice some frame pacing issue in windowed mode. Okay. Yeah, we'll try to look at that. For sure. Overworld reset was hard to see in some screens. Yeah, so we're going to work on all that stuff. Are you meant to be able to buffer a very large amount of moves? I mean, I think if you're playing for real, there's no way you're going to buffer more than, I don't know, some number of moves. Maybe speedrunners are going to want a macro. I don't know. I think, yeah, if you just wail on the keys for a while, low frame rate is a debug mode, but he'll just keep doing stuff for a little bit. But like, that was just me wailing on the keys, right? So I don't know. I don't know what people, a few people have mentioned that, and I don't know what they expect. I mean, this all seems normal to me for this kind of game. The thing in a Sokoban game is you want to be able to say, oh, I want to go 4 left and 3 north, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. See, and I ended up in exactly the right square, but I just hammered on the keys and didn't care about where I was standing because I know I'm going to end up 4 left and 3 north, right? And that's what you want in this kind of game, because you're just thinking like, oh, I want to be over there and whatever. You don't want to like be navigating your player and waiting till the right time to hit the key. That's just not what you want for this kind of game. So maybe that's what people expect. Maybe they expect that if they're not in that square yet, that hitting north will make them go north earlier. But for this kind of grid-based puzzle game, you want grid-based movement. Streaming from slow laptop with bad internet and debug build of the game. Debug build. Look, let's see. Do we say... No, it doesn't say debug on the top, but it is. Guys, if you're going to watch game development on a stream, you have to understand debug build. You can see how fast the game is by downloading the demo. You can play this exact scene in release build, and it's a much higher frame rate than what you see right now. Please add option to toggle running. Okay, we'll think about it. We also don't want to overwhelm people with controls, but you could think about something like if you double tap shift, it'll lock until you tap shift again or something. The problem is just, what if someone accidentally does that? Maybe it's fine because it clears when they finish the level or something, or switch characters. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what people think about that. Can you run the game as a meta program? Yes. Yes, you can, and it's a fun demo. It can be an option to run by default and shift as normal speed, like in a shooter. Yeah, we would consider that. We would consider that for sure. The thing about, so run actually does two things at the same time. So you can hit control to like slow time, which doesn't matter in levels like this because there's no timed objects, but in some levels there are timed objects, right? And slowing time just gives you the best reaction time. So when you run, you're moving faster and slowing time. And so it might be a little weird to have that be the default though later. I mean, maybe, I guess when you're standing still, we would stop slowing time. It would just take a little bit of work. With Braden the Witness, you explored big ideas. Is that true of this new game? I believe so. I mean, I think it's up to everybody individually whether they think that ideas are big. But I think so. Okay, let's at least try to get the start of the... Whoops. I meant to quit. Let's at least get the start of the pulse in. I'm going to want to go to bed at some point soon. R to undo and Shift R to reload. You have a mental block where using Z feels slightly out of place. I mean, Z is... It's one of the standards for this kind of game. I mean, there's multiple standards, I guess, but think of it like Control Z in an editor or something, but it's just Z. I mean, you can remap it. I mean, we don't do shift, I think, in the remapper, but you could just put undo on Z and then, restart on something else further on the keyboard that you don't need to hit that much. In case you don't know that, if you hit escape to go to the menu, you can say keyboard controls and you can remap keys. Yeah. Can you unlock custom skins? I mean, so I was talking to my friend who works on Fortnite, and he said Kim Kardashian is a really successful Fortnite skin for them. So we might do that. Also, I heard they added the burnt peanut to Fortnite, so maybe we'll have peanut. You played with a SNES controller. It was kind of weird to try remapping the controls with the Xbox controller. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use a weird controller, I mean, it's not exactly weird, but a controller that's not totally interoperating with PC. I think if you just use a third-party remapper, it's probably the best way, right? I forget the names of those programs, but there's the third-party gamepad things. Doom guy. We'll have the bride from Kill Bill. That was a very successful Fortnite skin. Just use Steam input. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to use the remapping in the game. There's all sorts of ways of remapping stuff. It's just we provide it also because, like, really on Windows, there should be a standard remapping for all Windows programs that's built into Windows, but Microsoft doesn't seem to care about that, just like they don't seem to care about a standard way for programs to automatic update and whatever, right? So you're just stuck with all these solutions going on. You're using the 2015 Steam controller. Cool, cool, cool. Like the 6 volume bars, yes. Will the engine be released? Yes. Under what license? We're gonna think about it. It'll be something very permissive, like MIT license for the most part, but maybe with a couple of stipulations. I don't. But it won't be GPL. It won't like require you to publish your source code. It'll just be you get to use this, right? You won't have to pay us royalties for using it or anything like that. It might not be exactly the MIT license, but I'll just say MIT license has always been my favorite license because it's very short, it's very simple. You don't have to wonder if you need to get permission for something. It's just, yes, you could do stuff with it. Will there be any other options to purchase the game on PC apart from Steam? Probably, probably. It's just we're focusing on Steam for now because it's the biggest. But again, I mean, we want to give people as many options as we can give them. It's just now the thing I will say about the engine is, it's not quite like Godot or Unity or something where you can build anything you want from just the UI. You have to do some programming. But you know what? Maybe now that people can ask AI how to do the code to do a thing, maybe that's more feasible for more people to use anyway, right? Because like, once you're locked into a GUI in Unity that only gives you certain entry fields that only work in certain ways, then there's just stuff that you can't do anymore, right? Because the engine developers didn't give you the ability to do it. Whereas if you have the source code, which you will, um, you can at least try to make it happen. It's at least possible, right? The license should at least protect from AI training. No, I don't mind if AI is trained on. I mean, we're giving out the source code. So I kind of don't care. Um, I got to send a note to someone. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Okay. Is the game finished with content at this point besides bugs, polish, voice acting, etc.? Okay, all the levels are there. We're probably still revising some levels to make them a little better in the late game. Um, but all the we could just ship all the levels that we have and it would be fine. Most of them have art now because we've got a team of artists who are just like blasting away. I mean, you see how good the levels are in the demo, and they can make levels that look that good pretty quickly. It's crazy. Um, so we're going to be revising them a little more, but we could ship it, right? Um, the thing that there's is the most development yet, content wise, is just story. I'm still working on story for a little bit. So if we were to try to record the voice acting for the rest of the game, it's like, well, we can't quite do that yet. We don't have all the lines, right? They're not all written yet. We finished the demo that was absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So, was that all? Well, if you finish the demo, you'll see that we're going to release more on Friday. So you can look forward to that. Um, I'm glad you liked it. Just please, if you like the game, tell people it's good. That's all we can ask for. Tell people it's good. Tell them they can get it this week for free if they want to play it. There are, of course, a lot of games in Next Fest that people can play this week. Um, but if you just let them know, hey, this was good, you know, this was good. It's free. Try it out. That's all we need, you know. Am I making most of the story myself? Yeah, I'm writing the story. It's a lot of work. Story is hard usually. It's really hard in this game because structurally, I mean, there's all these worlds and there's all these characters and what's going on and stuff. And for reasons you'll see later, it becomes even harder structurally because the game becomes more nonlinear later. Like in the beginning, in the demo, it's a little bit nonlinear in the demo because you have 3 different directions you can go after the tutorial, right? Um, but as you keep going through the game, you get more and more choices of which way to go, which means you can play a bunch of stuff in a lot of different orders. And we just have to deal with that in the story. Am I also writing the dialogue? It was good. Thank you. Yes, I wrote the dialogue. Some of it I'm not happy with. Some of it is going to get an overhaul, but a lot of it I'm happy with. Specifically for phase 1. Someone wrote that I said there were 85 levels in the demo. Do I know what the 10 levels are that people are seeming to miss? Maybe I misspoke when I said that. I don't know. I don't, well, let's see. So levels, these are not 100% real levels, but it goes from line 13 to 94 minus a few. Okay, so what overworld? So are you counting overworld? Are you counting? So intro, I don't actually know if intro counts as a win. The menu doesn't count as a win. So I might have been counting this, right? These are utility levels. Yeah. I might have given a slightly high number because I was counting these levels that are like basically. Does anyone know if intro gives you a win? I don't think so. No, it doesn't because there's no level entry for intro on the overworld. Preload material scene. Yeah, so let's see how many this is. This is from line 12 to 86. So that says 75, right? Because the first one is 0. So yeah, I guess there's 75 right now. It's just I got confused with those extra things in there probably. So just so you know, for demo it was so generous. Well, we're going to give you more. We're giving you more on Friday. Keep that in mind. You were referring to the number on the load campaign screen, yeah. Why'd you cut out skipping stones? We just wanted to give people an extra world in the full game that they didn't play yet in the demo. It's like something to look like. If we give you literally everything in the demo, you know, and it just helped us focus. Like, there's a little bit more programming we want to do on skipping stones. So skipping stones, like Promise, is one big complicated level, right? And there's just some user experience stuff we want to do to make that a little better. And we just hadn't done it yet. And when you're working toward a deadline, you just got to prioritize. And it made sense. It's like, okay, we'll give people 3 things in the demo, 3 worlds, and we'll just save that one. Casey forced you to play the demo like it was your job. Okay, how did he do that? How did he force you? Not being able to purchase the full game yet was a bummer. Yeah, I mean, Steam usually doesn't do pre-orders until a little bit before release. Like, they don't like pre-orders months and months ahead of or whatever. I don't know. We're not saying what the release date is yet, but if it's more than a couple weeks, which it is, I think they've just had a history of people pre-order a game and then it never comes out, right? So I think they only like to do pre-orders either if it's a super, super big game or you're really close to release and they can look at the game on their side and say, yeah, this is something that people would buy as a final game. So the demo represents like 20%. No. Okay. No, not even close. Okay, so there's a couple things. If you go by level count, it's a little misleading because the levels at the beginning are much simpler than the levels later. There's some levels later in the game that are huge. Like there's some levels, I'm thinking of one in particular that's probably like 4 or 5 hours, just that one level. Okay, so it gets involved later, but also just by level count. If you take what you did today and you add what you haven't seen yet that'll be on Friday, if you take all of that together, it's probably a little less than it's less than 10% of the game. It's probably like 8% of the game, 6%. It's a big game. That's why we can feel free to give out a lot for the demo because the game's so big that there's plenty where that came from. You know what I'm talking about? The promise puzzle count as only one level. Yes. Yes, it does only count as one level, and you can see why. You can see why. Okay, someone's here who I gotta talk to. I'm gonna go, but I'll be back in a minute. Let me mute so I don't dox. And I realized I was muted. Sorry. I was just talking about, I just unplugged the laptop. Lol. La 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 la. So excited and happy. Finally get to see all your work come to fruition. I know, dude. Imagine just working on this stuff for this long. it's it's crazy, right? It's great though. It's great. Um, uh, I don't remember. Um, maybe int is fine. I don't know. We're not going to go all the way. You guys will see. I think this will be enabled in the demo on Friday, so you'll see what it does. We're getting pretty late and it's bedtime. I woke up real early to work on the demo. So, okay, story guys. You know how you're not supposed to like do that many changes to a game right before ship? We kind of did a lot. Like I said, we did all the voice acting and we did all this programming and stuff. And I did a thing. So, you know, when it says resuming where you left off when you go into a level or no restart on overworld, that this sort of crept up on us and we didn't realize, but that was using a thing that was essentially a developer thing. Like, oh, we put the equivalent of log messages on the screen and then they scroll up. And we just forgot about it. And because we had that, we turned it on for these couple of gameplay things. And then we sort of forgot that was a thing. And so what we realized in the morning, this morning at 6 a.m., we were like, oh, uh, that always, because it's a developer thing, it always renders in the English font. So when you're playing in some other language with a different font, like Chinese or Russian or whatever, it doesn't render correctly. It's just a bunch of dots. Oh, that's bad. Let's fix it. So I fixed it this morning, along with a ton of other things, by the way, like little audio things and little, dialogue being timing being slightly wrong on the subtitles and whatever. And I fixed that, fixed quote unquote, but I was just, because I was in a hurry, I did something that was a little more sloppy than usual. And it turns out the game started crashing 1 hour before it was time to release, because we pushed a game to Steam, or we pushed a build to Steam around 9 a.m. or 8:30, and it seemed fine. And then it's like, oh no, when we load the game from a previously existing game, it crashes, and that's horrible, and nobody's going to be able to play like 1 hour before release. And it was my fault, because the thing that I did, so I said, oh, we're going to use the font, but like the way that I initialized it, I only initialized it at render time, and I didn't realize that some other piece of code wanted it before that, and so the font was null, right? And it's like, oh, crash. So it was easy to fix. It was a really stupid bug and it was easy to fix, but it was a little bit of an emergency for like 10 minutes. It was like, oh, why is it crashing? We're supposed to go live in an hour. Um, the levels look stunning. What was the process of coming up with these designs? Well, we actually give the art team a lot of freedom to do things that they think are going to look good. And dude, at this point, they're really good at making good looking levels. you know that said, for some stuff like the beginning of the game, we had a little bit more of a script of what the specific levels are, because it's supposed to be in this like mega dungeon castle place. And so we're like, and the characters go on kind of the same journey, like, right, like warrior goes through some rooms, thief goes through the same or similar rooms, wizard goes through the same rooms, right? And so during that part, we had sort of a tighter script on what it was. But for most of the game, we sort of just let them workshop, and they check in with me. We're sort of past the point of developing new biomes or whatever, but they would check in with me and I would be like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. Um, but I do, you know, when you hire people and you want them to be good, especially in a creative discipline, you kind of need to let them have some or a lot of uh, responsibility, like decision, creative input as well, right? Because the thing is, I'm not an environment artist, and so they might see ways to make things look good that I don't see. At the same time, the inverse happens a lot of the time too. Is like they're like, what do you want here? What would be good for the game? Because I could make any kind of environment. Like what does the game want here? And so there's kind of a back and forth conversation there that happens. Do you think the game can be optimized more? Yes, for sure. Um, we will be continuing to make it faster over time. Am I still winning against the peppermint bark? Yes. The peppermint bark now has nearly no hope of ever reaching me because I moved since then. Um, that said, maybe it'll get forwarded. I don't know. What are those things on the wall? These are just like, I think they're lamps. I think they just sort of do backlighting. They like project light onto the wall and then it bounces out. Are we going to do a puzzle script port? No. If someone wants to do a demake, they're welcome to it, but that already kind of exists in some way. Um, we're just going to do a little more here. I'm tired. Um, um, I don't think I added a variable. So let's make this version 25. So we're going to have this do pulse. Not necessary to set this if tower flags is set. Those always pulse. This is actually, let's not even do that yet because we don't know if we're going to want that yet. Let's just make the code work for everything. Okay. Um, okay, so uh, screen index is get screen index. So what does that return? It's S32. So we'll pass an S30. Dude, my mouse sensitivity is all jacked. It's like the streaming makes it all messed up. Okay, get screen index entry if screen index is equal to index start pulsing entry. And then we'll just do this when you clear fog of war and end up on a screen the first time. Um, so clear fog of war, clear fog at position, I guess. Wait. Where I don't see the declaration of that. Is that commented out? I guess it's commented out because there's no. All right. So this used to be called Clear Fog, but somebody's changed the name. So we need to ask Claude how to do it. Init fog of war. Clear primary fog of war at position. Okay. So that's it, the word primary was inserted here, I think, is what happened. Okay, so we do expand to include, and then we'll do clear neighboring regions, and we'll do start pulsing on new screen index. Hopefully that's still S32, but who knows? And we're going to do Cowabunga oriented programming because we don't see this yet. So when we do this, we're going to go game report. By the way, this game report is the thing I was talking about that puts up those messages that we caused the crash with this morning. It seems safe because, you know, it's a simple thing and we use it all the time, but I did something too messy that you shouldn't do because I was in a hurry. Be careful, everyone. Cowabunga, whatever, and entry.entity ID. Okay, and we'll see how that goes. I knew it wasn't S32 anymore. Just I had the impulse, dude. All right. Manager. I like to speak to the manager. I like to speak to the manager. Thank you for being such a positive force and understanding game design and programming. Thank you. I try to be a positive force. The truth is, I also get grumpy sometimes. But grumpy doesn't necessarily mean not positive force either. It just means not expressed in a positive way, right? I mean, I try to be good grumpy, which means I'm trying to be helpful and care about the right things. It's just expressed in a sour lemon way. But also, I try not to be grumpy. Like, dude, it's easy to be grumpy when you're 7 years into an unknown number of years project, right? It's just how it is. But yeah, thank you. It helps. Grumpy programmers are the best. Well, we're certainly something. We're certainly something. I don't think I just have high standards. Yeah. Do I know if it would be on PS4 like Braid? I don't know. Like at this point, you know, what I would just say is we're a small team. We've got to pick our battles, and we will be continuing to look at platforms that we haven't announced and try to figure out if we can do them or not. Oh yeah, I called this it instead of entry. But I don't know. No promises right now. If we decide to go to more platforms before launch, you'll hear about it probably substantially before launch. Is what I was, because it takes us time to do the port and stuff. Okay, get screen index. See, our error messages are nice. They tell you exactly what you need to do. LLVM, on the other hand, is slow. Missing a volume control in the menu. Yeah, there isn't one. We probably should put, it's just, like I said, we didn't have that much time for the demo and we had to prioritize. So the full game will have more of that stuff. We will definitely have to break out the menu into more different pages. Because if you have sound volume, music volume, and overall volume or something like that, or sound effects, music, audio logs, and then overall, that's like too many entries to fit on the home page like this, right? So we'll probably just have like audio and then that stuff. And then we'll probably have graphics, and these three will be on graphics, right? And then maybe some other stuff like some people want, on PC, people want more fine-grained control over how the game looks. So we'll probably have some way to do that. All right, so let's see what happens. Can we get a cowabunga when we go here?
It looks
Cowabunga!
nice here, but there's an underlying miasma. Not unlike the other morning. Just ere I was forced to flee. The cloth feels smooth and well-tailored.
Yeah,
And
so it
I
works.
feel like
And we just want to do the visuals. Oh, spoilers. We just want to do the visuals, which I will save for next. Okay, we should get a cowabunga. Oh, wait. We've gone to Mirror Isles already, so we won't get a cowabunga. People have gone to Promise 2 screen in the demo, I think, right? Or maybe they can't quite, but cowabunga. All right. So, cool. So that's all working. But you know what? We might as well just go the little bit extra mile, right? We might as well go the little bit extra mile. So, let's take the W and then we'll just try to hook that up to the level entries. And then it'll be bedtime. All right. We've got the cowabunga, of course. See, this search program, it doesn't notice when you add a new file, unfortunately. So this file was added since I started this, so it doesn't see the no check-in, which is annoying. All right. Add stuff for pulsing level entries. No visual effect. Yes. Okay. Do you plan to make the world map so we can look around with controls? We'll see. Some people have definitely asked for that. It just needs to be something we prioritize. You got to say the hero's dialogue is really fun. Thank you. Thank you. I have more ideas for how to make it more fun in the future. But I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Are the demo edge limits pretty obvious? Yeah, I mean, before you get to them, they're not obvious, but you'll know. We have signs that say you got to the end of this part of the demo. It's very clear. It's very clear. I wish you could play more if you didn't have work in the morning. Well, you've got all week. You could play more later. The demo is out. You can look at the pinned tweet here in chat. Is the demo really 20 hours long? Not for everybody. Not for everybody. Like, I think that number is an estimate for people who are not puzzle game experts, right? So we definitely had, people who finished part one of the demo in like 4 hours on Twitch today, or a little less even. And then demo part two, I don't know, it's fewer levels than part one, but they're more complex. And so who knows? We'll see. But it's at least for people even who are good at puzzles, it's probably at least 6 or 7 hours of the demo, right? And so you can extrapolate for people who are less good at puzzles, that's more time. And that's more hours than a lot of indie puzzle games just in the demo. So we'll see. It's a lot. 6 or 7 hours. Yeah, it's like 6 or 7 hours. You're from Brazil and you're loving the new game. Thank you. Again, I mean, if you like the game, I just ask you for a favor because we've worked so hard on it. You can tell the levels are beautiful, the design is really good, the acting is good. Just tell your friends it's a good game, because and they get to play it for free this week. And yeah, that's all. That's all. That just helps us. It helps us survive as a developer. Even if they don't buy the game eventually, even if they don't wishlist it, just if more people know about it, that helps us. Because the number one problem these days is like games just not getting attention because there's so many things out there. Like there's a lot of stuff in Next Fest. You're from Brazil too and also loving the game. Great. I went to Brazil a long time ago. It's been a while since I've been there, but it's a good country. It's a big, big country. It's really big. I think a lot of people in the world have no idea how big Brazil is. 94% user review. That's great. We got a little bit review bombed at the beginning. We started at like 65 or 70, and there were negative reviews in the first 5 minutes. So like people who obviously hadn't played the game, right? But so I'm glad that's going up as people play it. Some people say it's the biggest country in the world. Is Brazil the biggest country in the world? Doesn't Russia have more land area than Brazil, for example? Russia land area. Russia is the largest country in the world by landmass. Okay, Brazil. Yeah, it's like half. But it's not just the size, it's what you do in the place. And so I think Brazilians have probably, I mean, aren't Russians Soding can tell us, aren't Russians notorious for being sour lemons? And Brazilians are notorious for having fun and enjoying life. And so if they enjoy life more than twice as much as Russians, then I think it makes sense that Brazil is the biggest country in the world, right? Doesn't that make sense? Brazil has more livable land area that isn't frozen. Hell, maybe so. Is it correct that displacement D5, I don't know what that means, doesn't work in 2 blocks distance and view? Okay, I think I know the question. Yeah, that's correct. When it comes to some of these gameplay rules, you have to just, as designers, we make decisions about how they should work. In that particular case, this was based on the original game Promised by Sean Barrett, and that was also the rule he chose. But for him, the orange beam was about your player movement. It's not really about doubling everything, and so there's spoilers, but there's sometimes when it doubles other things seemingly, but what it's really doubling is your movement, and then because you touch that thing, something happens, right? It makes sense. But basically, in a game like this, where it's about all these things coming together and the rules interacting in interesting ways, then um, just as designers, we start to have to make all these decisions about what's the right way for things to behave, and it's part of what's interesting about designing the game. Brazil is larger if you go by level count. Russia is more like the promise. Well, I think Russia is more like Escape from Tarkov, right? The levels in Escape from Tarkov are really big, but there's not that many of them. But they're adding more. They just added Labyrinth and the ending level, whatever's the ending level called, and the ship. So, you know, they'll get there eventually. Whereas maybe Brazil is more like Tactical Nexus. Bird, I visited Moscow in 2019, which is a while ago now. Um, but I mean, it was an interesting trip. I enjoyed what I saw. I didn't get to see very much because I was only there for 4 days, and 2 days were preparing the speech I was doing and giving the speech I was doing. So I only really had 2 days to see anything, and then I had to leave. And you can't like, I mean, even that, I mean, this was before things got crazy, but even back then there were tensions. And so, like, you got your visa in advance as an American, you declared which days you would be there, and you can't like stay extra time if you change your mind later. That's just not how it worked. So, Russia is not for beginners yet. Just tried the demo. Really amazing to finally play it. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. At what point of making this game did you want to make a programming language to create it? Was that something you want to do for a long time? Basically, I hated using C++ when I was finishing The Witness, and I just had ideas. And I did some YouTube videos in 2014, probably. And you could still find them on my YouTube channel where I just talk about what some of those ideas are. And the ideas evolved into things that are, I think, more mature than those original ideas. But then this game came after that. So I just wanted a small game that would be easy to make, that would prove that the language was good for games. And so I made this giant puzzle game because apparently my brain doesn't work right sometimes. But that the intention was to make a small game that didn't look that good, would be easy to make without making a full engine or anything, and just be enough to prove out the language. And then we just did this. So it's just how it went, guys. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for all the positive comments. It really means a lot. Um, Everyone works super hard. So I'm glad you guys like it. Glad you guys like it. Will the final release's story be more clear about what the game's philosophy is? Okay, here's what I will say about that. The general structure of the game is there are multiple endings. And even on the way to endings, you figure out more about what's going on in the game by seeing characters talk or whatever. But then the endings especially give you more information. And so the further you get through the game, the more you know what it's about, is what I would say, and why all this stuff is happening, and who's hoping to get what out of it, and that sort of stuff. Seemed like it was saying you made a mistake immediately after moves. Yeah, that's not something we do through the whole game. That's just something we do to help people out right there. The real issue is we just need to remind people that those controls exist, because if we don't, they might just forget, right? Um, but yeah, it could be tuned. We could like wait to pop those up a little bit. I for sure see that, but that's just not in the rest of the game. The game doesn't do that generally, so you don't really have to worry about that if you don't like it. Do the multiple endings require multiple playthrough? No, no, it's not like New Game Plus endings. Um, it's just like, look, you got to the end, but if you want to keep going, you could keep going, right? But it's within the same save. You don't have to replay puzzles to get second ending or anything like that. Maybe this is going to top Steven's Sausage Roll for you. Well, it's high praise. Steven's Sausage Roll is a very good game. By the way, guys, I've spoken well of Steven's Sausage Roll before, but if you haven't played it, it's a very good game. It's very hard. It's notoriously hard, but it's a good game. And if you finish the demo and you want some more stuff to play, well, if you want some more stuff to play, you could look for puzzle games on Next Fest. Because there's probably a bunch of them that you could only play this week. And then after Next Fest ends and you can't play those anymore, then you could play Steven's Sausage Roll. Is the red placard gating an object in Mirror Isles unlockable in the current demo? No. Is it unlockable in the Friday unlock? No. That's a full game thing. We could like take it out. We could have taken it out of the demo, but because it's kind of distracting. Like if you can't solve it and you're trying to, you're playing the game, you're trying to figure out what to solve. If you can't solve it and you don't know that you can't solve it, that's a little weird, but like we also want to give people a strong hint of what's there in the full game, right? So that's all. Like we want to we want to let people know, well, there's this thing that you got to figure out, and it's like a sort of a longer term question because it's not obvious right away like that's part of the feel of the game and stuff, and so we left it there, but you can't do anything with it yet. Order of the Sinking Star very well may not have existed if not for Steven. That is true. In multiple ways, that's true, because Steven's Sausage Roll, and also because of Puzzle Script. Curious what percentage of your total ideas for this game ended up getting cut. It's hard to calculate because there's ideas versus levels. What I could tell you is we probably cut 2/3 of the levels we ever made. So it's very polished. However, not all of those are different levels. Some of those are successive different ways of envisioning the same level or the same idea. So there's some levels that we went through 7 or 10 or 12 versions. That's pretty rare to get up to like 10, but it's happened a couple times for sure. You love how seamless the transitions are between levels, fast travel, etc. Yeah, fast travel especially is pretty fun. I just like the fast travel in the game. It's like it's very, I think we've all played games where you try to use the fast travel and there's like so much friction in using it that it's not that fast, right? And so we wanted to make sure that it's very fast and useful, and I think we succeeded at that. Game is going to look crazy when people speed run it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You got your sausage roll coin? Awesome. I got the notification that my coin was mailed, but I also left town to go do this stuff, so I hope it's there when I get back. Any puzzles in the fast travel area? Not exactly, but we do some stuff with it. You know, it's a game of mine. We like to have fun, right? We like to have fun. The freezer with the goblin in it has an arrow pointing all the way down to the main world. Yeah, that probably unlocks based on a level that's not open yet in the demo or something. It might be in demo part 2. No, it's probably in demo part 1 if you get an arrow. So maybe you just saw that before you solved that level. It is weird that the arrow points down. But whatever. We'll fix that maybe later. Do you have anything special the day of the game release? I'm sure we'll do some stuff. We have yet to figure it out because it's a lot just to get the game done right now, you know. Our main focus right now is getting the game done. But we will continue to do stuff. All right, so update transforms for level entries. Update output properties for pulsing level entries. We're going to go for, let's make the duration a little longer, by the way, just to help us debug. It's debug build times, times k. K is going to be duration and S is going to be scale. We're just going to multiply those by 2. And that'll just exaggerate the effect so that we can tell what's going on. All right. So, we're going to say for I guess we got to do both of these things maybe at different times. Okay, so actually, let me go look and simulate. Yeah, okay, so okay, we'll just go, we'll just call both of these at the same place, which is kind of silly, but whatever. DT and then manager. All right, so we're calling that, and now we're going to go, over this thing. Okay. Okay, we're going to do that. Error, if not found, is already reported in update. So let's not spam. So we get the entry, and then we'll say the scale. All right, we do set that there. So we're going to go entry.output scale times equals pulsing.scale. Right? It's pretty simple. And maybe we could change colors and stuff too, but like I don't want to go too much into it because we're going to do a whole thing about the visual treatment in the long term that makes it pretty different. Congrats on the demo. Beyond your expectations. Thank you, sir. Yeah, dude, I'm so happy to have it out there. We still have a lot of work to do to finish the full game. But you get a good taste of what it's like from the demo. It's, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all the positive comments. We have got a lot of positive comments in this stream. But dude, I'll take them. We've worked so hard on this for so long that we need all the positive comments we can get, right? But the team as well, thanks you. I mean, some of them are probably lurking. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they're all tired and went to bed, but some of them are on Europe time and might be waking up. I think everyone's really appreciative that people like the game. Because that's all you know, when you work so hard on something, it's all you want is for people to enjoy it. Okay, so let's refog. Uh-oh, refog doesn't work anymore. That's a developer command. All right. We're going to start a new campaign and go to the overworld. Some of you don't game on PC and feel left out. I know. Apologies on that. It's a little harder to do demos on consoles, and it's especially for us. It's harder to coordinate multiple things, whereas like just being in Next Fest on Steam is pretty straightforward. Valve makes it easy to participate. So we just did that, but we certainly don't want to leave out anyone on other platforms. Nice tan. Yeah, I've been hanging out in LA for a few days. Thank you. Thank you. Voice starvation. Yeah, how do voices starve? It's just sound waves. Think about it. Think about it. You really like the mirror puzzles using Redacted. I like those puzzles too. They're good. Okay, dude, what's going on? What is going on? This is probably my fault. Oh, yeah. You know what it is? It's this. Well, except maybe not. I mean, this is bad, but I also feel like feel like that shouldn't be causing a problem. We'll run in the debugger just in case. We might not need it. That might have been the bug. But if that was the bug, then something bad is happening. Playing something that you can tell the developers cared about and thought about all aspects of is rare. Yes. Well, so first of all, that's always been a hallmark of my games, right? Is you can tell that we care. Secondly, we're not the only developer for which that's true. There's a number of good developers who make things that are really good. But we are kind of in this time of slop, right? So there's a bunch of games, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just a different thing. Like, oh, hey, we were just messing around, and here's our friend game with wacky physics, and it's not polished the same way. And I mean, people enjoy a lot of those, so it's not. I'm not bagging on it, but it's just to say that the really polished experiences are a lower proportion of games than they used to be. Is all. Like that's just a fact. So hopefully people appreciate it. All right, we're not crashing anymore. That has me a
These
little worried.
fortifications
Actually.
look stalwart enough. Though I had thought thus about my own walls.
Okay, so we actually see we're clearing Fog of War, but we actually are going to want this to pulse, but we'll do it later. Okay, what happened? We're not cowabungaing anymore.
It looks nice here.
Did I comment the
But there's
cowabunga?
an underlying miasma. Not unlike the other morning. Just ere I was forced to flee.
I might be too tired to. Yeah, okay, I deleted the cowabunga. Let's put that back. Um, but we're not seeing the results, which I don't love. That just might mean we might have to debug that next time, but it might just mean, you know, well, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I'm a little suspicious about this thing that happened. So the fact that there's, let's just see, this, we shouldn't have ever had a null entry pointer. So that's sus. We're just going to set a breakpoint there, and we're going to debug it. So that's in level entry pulse. Down here. We're going to put it there. Traveling time, good luck. Good luck. You wish they did polish those friend slop more. I mean, there were some pretty. The friend slop trend was started by some games that were pretty polished compared to a lot of the later ones, right? So, like, Fall Guys is pretty polished. Although, you know, that sort of was a follow up on like Gang Beasts and stuff, but Gang Beasts was pretty polished. It's just the recent ones that are like, well, we've got Unity and we hook up the physics engine and whatever. Like, RV There Yet, for example, is, I mean, people look like they're having fun with it and stuff. It's a very successful game, but it's also like, you wouldn't call it polished, right? You just wouldn't. That doesn't mean it's not a good game, you just wouldn't call it polished. The displacement device is so powerful you don't know how not to break the game. Well, yeah, gotta get good, man. I forgot I can do this. I can do a hard reset here. It'll take some time again because debug build. Oh, what? What is going on here? Oh, when we reset the level, ID equals 0. That's what I would have guessed. Oh, we don't set it. Guys, we never set the ID on the thing. It's kind of stupid. So it's duplicated because it's the key to the hash table, but it's also on the thing. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So we could put this down here. Pulsing.id is entry.entid. I didn't do that because I was looking in like all these other ones are the default. Yeah, that's a dumb mistake. Well, I certainly have made a number of dumb mistakes in my career. It's not that unusual, but it's probably programming while tired kind of a situation, right? Gamble with friends was fun. I mean, there's a bunch of these. Like, there's a game right now that tons of people, the hide and seek game, whatever that one's called. Like, an insane number of people are playing that. Like, I looked today on SteamDB and it was like 3 times as many people as Arc Raiders. Is that free? That game? Mecha Chameleon? Is that what it's called? Like, an insane number of people are playing that game. It's like $5. Okay, but cheap. Cheap enough that a ton of people. Okay, see that? See that?
These fortifications look stalwart enough.
I think if I go out,
I
it'll come
had
back
thought
in.
thus
No?
about
Okay.
my own walls.
So that's just what I want to do. We don't want it to be this hyper, right? See that? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, wait, that's interesting that they're already out of phase because I kind of don't know why they're out of phase. I thought they would go at the same time. Anyway, we want to put more effects on that. We want to do cool stuff with it. But you see what I'm doing. It's just like making it more attention gathering, grabbing. Like, let's see. So if we go, how many people right now at 10 p.m. SteamDB Mecha Chameleon. That's probably not quite spelled right. It's got 2 C's for some reason. 73,000 people. But dude, look at this. Frickin' insane. Frickin' insane, dude. And I think that's just, there's a certain genre of game where you see streamers playing it and having fun, and you're just like, all right, cool. And it's a good streamer game because they could play with each other and stuff. How many playing ours? A lot less. Probably. It's a demo and it's a puzzle game and all that. So, but this is an insane, like, okay, Arc Raiders. I mean, we can look at all these games, but Gothic 1 Remake also has an insane number of players, right? So Arc Raider, that's like 3 Arc Raiders right now. Oh, Gothic Remake is like 8. Okay. This was a lot bigger earlier today, I think, right? Oh my God, look at this. So I think what we're saying is Gothic Remake is maybe being played mostly by people in Germany or something. Look at how extreme these peaks are. Like the developers of the original game is German. I don't know about the remake. Like we're basically at the low point, but like at peak, 60,000 people playing it. That's insane, dude. So we're in this time for video games where some of them like hit really, really, really big. Yeah. I mean, some of these games, dude, They're nuts. Nuts. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out. I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for being a great Twitch chat. Thanks for all the positive comments. It's been really nice. We can raid someone else who's playing the game. Hopefully there's someone playing the game. There probably is, right? It's pretty late. How do we get there? How do we get there? Twitch game. Oh, well, I can go here, and then I can.
It's not really okay.
That's me.
Sometimes
I can just click on the category somewhere. No, that's software and game development. That's not helping. Let's just search here. Category. There we go. Who do we raid? Someone from Japan. They might not speak English. Am I smarter than a corgi? Well, we don't know where that's going to go. Okay, it's Japan time right now is what we're seeing. Okay, let's raid a friend from Japan. Or we could do Old Lost Wizard probably speaks English, so let's do that. All right, thanks everybody. Be good. Again, if you enjoyed the game, just tell people you liked it. That's the best thing you can do to help us make more good games and, you know, finish this game as best as possible, honestly. Thanks everyone. And by the way, we're going to do another stream tomorrow night where we just run through the game and make a little video to go on the Steam page. If you've played the demo, you already know what's going to be in there, but just to say we're going to do another stream tomorrow night. Thanks everyone. See you later. How do I, what's it doing? Okay, there we go.